It's the brainy guys who fuck up with women, not the stupid guys. The stupid guys, because they're stupid and they don't overthink it, they do fine with women. It's guys like you who fuck up because you're too fucking smart, because you're overthinking the fucking problem, because you think it's a problem. It's not a problem to be solved. It is a process. Okay, in the last video, I talked about the first date and how you had to be confident and looking to create emotional complicity. That those two factors would make it or break it insofar as you having a successful first date, right? Now, in this one, I'm going to be talking about two things that seem on their surface to be unrelated, but in fact are very closely interlinked. They are, number one, always be double booking and always be closing. Well, first off, and something I haven't touched upon in the previous videos in this series, don't be dating willy-nilly, you know? I mean, have a plan when you're dating, right? And what do I mean by this? Like, first of all, if you're out in the world and you're looking for a woman, know which sort of woman you're looking for. Are you looking for the mother of your children? Or the future mother of your children? Are you looking for a weekend lay? Are you looking for a deep emotional connection, but not necessarily something long-term? I mean, figure out what you're looking for in a woman before you go out to look for her, right? Number one. And number two, don't be dating all the time. Sort of like set periods aside, certain months of the year perhaps, or a certain period in your life when you're going to be dating. Now, the reason being is because a lot of guys, they just sort of like date whenever they have the opportunity. They date willy-nilly. And that's a mistake. Because you see, sometimes you have things going on in your life that are more important than women. Sometimes you have things like school, like work, your career, whatever the fuck, right? That are simply more important than females. Females, often as not, can be a luxury. And females, often as not, can derail you from the important things that you're doing with your life, right? So you don't want that to happen, right? So know when you're going to be dating. Dedicate certain times, and the other times, the rest of the time, when you're not dating, ignore women. Even when women are throwing themselves at you, you have something more important going on in your life. You know, you're going through like a period of tests at college, or you're going through like a very delicate period in your work or your career or something like that. Ignore women because they're a distraction. They take a lot of energy out of you. Dating takes an enormous amount of energy out of you. So know when to date. Pre-plan those periods when you will be dating, okay? Okay, now having said that, see, there are periods in your life when you're gonna be dating, right? During those periods when you are dating, don't date one woman. Date multiples. I mean, in my own case, I've found 3 to 6 simultaneously is it's a pretty good number, okay? Have 3 to 6 different women on your dance card, you know? Never less, never one, never have just one on your dance card. The reason is very simple. See, when you have just one woman that you're focusing on, I mean, you don't have her, she's not in your life yet, you know, you're trying to get her, you're chasing her, right? You're chasing this one woman, and what'll happen is that all of your attention and your hopes and aspirations will focus on this woman. Now, that will be terrible because you will overthink her, you will elevate her in your own mind as somebody better than she actually is. You will ignore her flaws, and every woman has a flaw just as every man has a flaw, right? You will ignore her flaws, and you will start to make mistakes out of desperation. See, there's a wise saying, see, a man with no options is a slave to his circumstances. I made up that saying, but it's a good saying. If you don't have any options, you're going to settle for the first thing, the first situation that comes along. If you are only seeing one woman, you are going to settle for her regardless of whether or not she's worthy of you. So if you're seeing multiple women, first of all, you'll be able to contrast and compare and really be able to evaluate them on a as near objective level as possible. Number one, which is a good thing, right? And number two, you're not going to be desperate with any of them because you're going to be figuring, well, if I blow it with this chick, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 other chicks on my dance card. So no big deal, Oh, I blew it with this one, but there's Mary and Sue and Josephine and whoever the hell, right? So your anxiety level decreases, which is a good thing. You want that. You don't want to be desperate. You don't want to be anxious with any girl that you're seeing, right? Right. Another issue is that when you are seeing multiple women, you are more bold. You are more direct. You are more cavalier. And frankly, most women, especially women of quality, most women of quality are captured by boldness. Napoleon Bonaparte famously said that history is like a woman, she favors the bold. Well, yeah, but flip that saying around. Women, especially women of quality are like history. They favor the bold. When you are seeing multiple women, when you are dating multiple women, you're going to be more bold, more assertive, more confident. Because, again, you're going to be thinking to yourself that if you blow it with this particular woman, you have these other options. You're not going to be so tentative, you're not going to be so hesitating, and because of that, you'll likely land the girl. It's the way of the world. A man who has options is a man in control. A man with no options, or only one option, well, then he's a slave to his circumstances. You date just one woman, that girl, she's going to have you like a puppy on a leash. You're going to be her toy, her plaything. And there's not going to be a goddamn thing you can do about it because you're going to be thinking to yourself, she's the best I can do. I can't do any better. I'm stuck with her. See what I'm saying? Now, when you're dating multiple women, I'm not talking about having a relationship, by the way. It's like pre-relationship. When you're just dating, it's just seeing this woman and the other. Like I said, see multiple women, but don't tell them that you're seeing multiple women. Okay? Don't ever tell them. First of all, it's bragging, and that's always ugly. So don't brag, number one. And number two, you see, if you tell her, it's just an asshole-ish thing to say, and she's not going to like you. Okay? Now, weirdly enough, she might well find out that you are dating multiple women, right? Especially like if you're in like college or someplace like that, where it's a relatively small environment and everybody talks to everybody else. In college, people talk, girls talk. Now, you're dating multiple women, and they'll likely tell one another. And some girl, or maybe all the girls that you're dating, will hear that you're dating other people, right? They're not going to be that upset. Weirdly, isn't it weird? But it's true. See, if you tell a girl that you're dating multiple women, she'll think you're an asshole. If she finds out from other people that you are dating other people, she'll think to herself, oh, he's an asshole, but she will be more attracted to you. It's the way of the world. It's the way of women. That's how they are. When a woman hears that the man that she's sort of dating, that she's sort of seeing, they hear that there are other girls that are interested in him, they up his value in their eyes. They think that he's better. They want him more. That's the way of the world. That's the way of women, and you just got to roll with it. And you got to use it to your advantage. You see? Now, if a woman that you're dating confronts you and says, well, I hear that you're dating like other people, right? Don't act defensive. Don't act defensive at all. Just shrug it off. Just like, don't answer. And certainly don't give an explanation. Just shrug it off. Just like, oh, you know how it is. She might come back at you and she say some shit like, no, I don't know how it is. Tell me how it is. And what do you do there? You never act defensive. You never, ever, ever act defensive with a woman. You act defensive with a woman and you're toast. You're over. Okay? And certainly don't plead. She gets all uppity about the fact that you're seeing other people, and you say to her as a first line of defense, well, I didn't know we were exclusive. Number one, if it comes to that. And if she still gives you shit, you just say to her, well, something else, maybe we shouldn't see each other anymore. What will happen there? She'll bark and bark, but she won't bite and she won't leave. She'll just, say some shit, just be annoyed and upset with you and think that you're an asshole. And, maybe you'll get a fuck out of it that very night. You never know. I mean, like, look, see, women, when they know that a guy has other options, they want him more. They most certainly want him more. And if the guy just drops the bomb and says, look, if you don't like how I live my life and, you know, you don't want to see me anymore, okay, fine. We don't have to see each other anymore. She's going to cave every time, because that's how women are. They are extraordinarily conservative insofar as their relationships are concerned. And they are always striving for what other people want. And that combination is deadly if you're dating multiple women. Because if you're dating multiple women, any woman who finds out that you're dating somebody else, she'll confront you and be on the surface very upset with you, but she's not going to leave you. She's going to want you more. And if you drop the bomb and say to her, look, if it upsets you so much, maybe we shouldn't see each other anymore, she'll get a little bit desperate. This desperation might come out a little bit, and in terms of like, she might come across as angry or yell at you a little bit, but she won't let you leave her sight. And more often than not, she'll wind up fucking you. Because it's the way of women. That's how women are. So now you're dating multiple women, right? You're dating between, 3 and 6 women. As I told you before, I think that that's like the optimal number, but that's just my experience. You'll find whatever number is best for you. 10, 20, if you can schedule it right. Now, you want to go out on dates with them on the same day. Crazy as that may sound. You want to double book. You want to be seeing them, like Saturday, you want to be seeing Amy in the morning for like brunch, and then, Betty, after lunch, afternoon kind of hangout, and Cindy at nighttime, okay? Shit, one time I went out with 5 girls in a single day. No, 4 girls in a single day. Now, it was great. It was at different stages. I mean, I met one on a first date, and the other 3 were women that I was already sort of semi-seeing kind of thing, okay? Now, why is this an optimal situation? Because of you. You. See, when you are seeing just one girl on one specific date, you naturally start to rev yourself up for that particular girl. You rev yourself up emotionally, and what starts to happen is that you start to get tense, a little nervous, okay? And this happens to every guy. It's perfectly normal. Sometimes, for some guys, this is great. They amp up their energy and they focus themselves and they do fine. But for most guys, insofar as women are concerned, it's a disaster because you come across as too desperate, okay, too eager. In point of fact, you'll find that, like in my case, for example, when I have like a big test or a big thing or a big presentation that I have to do, I can rev myself up to the stratosphere, right? And I land there at the presentation or the test or whatever it is, and I do aces. No problem. I just blaze through, with flying colors. But when I have to see a woman, especially a woman that I don't know that well, especially a woman that I'm potentially interested in, when I rev myself up like that, I come across as too eager, too energetic, too much, okay? Frankly, I sort of like shoot myself in the foot. So you see, revving myself up is great for schoolwork and work, but for women, it's a disaster, at least for me. So in my experience, I've seen that it's better to date multiple women on the same day. Double book them, okay? And like I said, or not double book them because you're not going to be seeing them at the same time, but sort of like space them out during the day, okay? You see them one at one time, then the other one, and then the other one, and then the other one, right? See, by seeing multiple girls on the same day, you're not going to be nervous with any one of them. You're going to be thinking to yourself, I'm having a great time with this chick, but I'm going to be seeing, Betty in a little bit. And Amy here is great, but I'm going to see Betty. Maybe Betty is better. Who knows? A nice alliteration there, right? I'm with Amy now, and it's great now, but maybe it's better with Betty. And then maybe later with Cindy, it's climactic Cindy. Who knows? Just to continue the stupid alliteration, right? But you see my point. By seeing multiple women on the same day, you're not putting your psychological eggs in any one basket. And you're feeling to yourself, more relaxed because you're thinking to yourself, if I succeed or fail with any one of these girls, it sort of doesn't matter because there's another opportunity in just a couple of hours. You see what I mean? It also keeps you disciplined insofar as time is concerned, because you're not going to be spending that much time with any one particular girl. You're going to be going, 2 hours with one and then leaving her, and it'll take you, I don't know, half an hour to an hour to meet up with the other one, and then you're going to spend time with her and then with another one and then another one, right? And that way, you're never going to be tense. You're never going to be thinking that this is a make or break situation. You're always going to be thinking that you have another opportunity. And so, 1, you'll be more relaxed. 2, you'll be more bold. 3, you'll keep the date short and to the point. You see how this works? Yeah, exactly right. By keeping each date short and to the point, and by knowing that there are more opportunities during that very day, you're going to succeed in all of them. Your percentage overall will improve. It's a fact of life. That's how it works. Now, this brings us to the last issue that I want to talk about, which is always be closing. What do I mean by that? Always be closing. You want to be escalating into a sexual direction, the date, as quickly as possible. Yeah, putting a hand on her body, kissing her, feeling her up, and finally getting her into bed. You want to be escalating as quickly as possible. And if you are dating multiple girls, you're going to feel a little bit of a tick-tock kind of like gotta get the job done kind of feel to it, which is good. Because what happens a lot of times is that when you are dating just one girl on one day, and she's the only girl that you're seeing, by the way. So if you're dating just this one girl, what'll happen is that you'll find it hard to work up the nerve to escalate. Because asking a girl out on a date requires a certain bit of courage. You got to work up your nerve to do it. And then from there, from being on the date to actually escalating and moving the relationship into the sexual area, that also requires another leap of faith or just a push of courage. Okay? It takes a little bit of courage, or sometimes a lot of courage, right? So when you know that you have other people that you're going to be seeing that very day, for any one date, you're thinking to yourself, I don't have that much time, so I better escalate soon. That's the advantage of double booking, of having multiple girls that you're going to be seeing on that one day. Because if you don't have that pressure, you tend to stretch out the date. And as I told you before, when you stretch out a date that should have been an hour, 90 minutes tops, you stretch it out to 2, 3, sometimes even 4 fucking hours. The moment to escalate passes. And the likelihood of success in a physical escalation with a woman begins to diminish, paradoxically enough. A lot of guys think to themselves that, if I spend more time with a girl, it's more likely that she'll want to, kiss me and let me feel her up and eventually go to bed with me, right? Wrong. The more time you pass with a woman without physically escalating the situation, the more likely she'll put you in the friend zone. That she'll consider you just a friend and not a potential lover. That's the way of the world. See? More time you spend with her, less likely that you're going to have sex with her. If some moron in the comment section says, well, can I see the citation, please? I can't cite that. I don't know where. I wouldn't know where to look for it. But that's my experience. And again, I have, basically 35 years of experience dating. I think I know a lot about it, so I don't need to refer to some academic paper to know that this is a fact. The more time you spend with a woman without escalating, the less likely she will view you as a sexual being, and the less likely she will want to be with you, sexually speaking. It's a fact, okay? So, how do you do it? Very simple. Now, I told you the other day that there are 2 key things that you have to bring to a first date, right? Confidence and the notion that your aim is emotional complicity, right? Okay, the complicity part. There'll come a moment in the first date, usually fairly early, surprisingly early sometimes, where and the girl will like exchange like a look, a complicit look. Like you both saw something and you glance at one another and there's that electric feel of like you both are thinking the same thing, right? It's a delicious feeling. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And when you feel that feeling, that's your cue. That's when you have to escalate. That's when you have to get that first kiss in, okay? And you do it very simply. You look at the girl, you know, and you've had that moment and you're sort of like in that afterglow of that little moment. Maybe she's saying something, whatever the fuck she's saying or whatever's going on. And you just look at her and you say, I want to kiss you. Just throw it out there. Verbally, you can never be too bold. Verbally, okay? Verbally, you can never go too far. Physically, sure, you can certainly go too far physically. I mean, the ultimate would be rape, of course, and I am, for one, I'm certainly not advocating that under any circumstances. I'm certainly not advocating any kind of use of physical aggression or violence or anything like that insofar as dealing with a woman. No, I mean, I want to make that very, very clear. But what I am saying is that verbally, you can never go too far. Not with a woman. Just say outright, I want to kiss you. More likely than not, she'll say yes. More likely than not. And if she says no, it won't be like, no, get away from me, you. It'll be sort of like a little flirtatious no. You push the issue 5 minutes later, not 5 minutes later, and she'll probably say yes. You keep on pushing every, between 3 and 5 minutes. Within half an hour, you're there. Okay, unless the girl is like obviously not interested, then you're shit out of luck, and that's that, and just move on. I mean, if it's clear that the woman is not interested in having any kind of physical thing with you, i.e., when you pop the question that you want to kiss her, right? And she reacts in a clearly negative way, no flirtation at all, then your date is just a waste of time. Leave her. I mean, when it becomes clear that the woman is just never going to see you on a sexual level, leave her. What the fuck are you wasting your time for, right? Right. But when you do have that sensation and she says no, just keep on pushing. Just keep on pushing. Eventually she'll say yes. Okay? Now, I'm talking verbally push her. Okay? Never physically. Now, physically, though, this is what I have found which is effective. I did a video called All Women Are Like Dogs, and YouTube banned it, and because of it I got a strike. I can't stream on the fucking channel until like fucking September, I think, because of this goddamn strike, which I think is grossly unfair, but whatever. The video, Women Are Like Dogs, it's linked below, it's in BitChute, so you can go see it there. The link is below. In that video, I say the following. I say that women are like dogs in the sense that they respond to confidence. Physical confidence. This is very important. In the previous video, I said to you that what you should be doing is that when you take her on some date or whatever, you take her by the hand, firmly, okay? You don't squeeze her fingers off. No, you take her by the hand firmly as if you were holding the hand of a child as you cross the street together, okay? Think of it in those terms. See, you're holding her hand, right? Not so tightly that you break her fingers, but not so loosely that it feels like a dead fish in her hand, right? She feels your hand. She feels that you are the man running the show insofar as this date is concerned, right? Okay, that's hand holding. The other thing I found useful is that when you open a door for a woman, which you will, because it naturally happens, and of course you always open the door for a woman, no matter what she says about feminism or some bullshit like that. Even the most feminist chicks love that shit, right? What you do is you open the door for her with your left hand, and with your right hand you put it on her back, right more or less where her kidneys are, right? Your middle finger right at that inflection point between where her back ends and her ass begins, right? Your ring finger and your pinky finger on the very top edge of her ass, and your index finger and your thumb on the very lower part of her back. Right there. That's like the sweet spot, right? You put your hand there and you firmly guide her forward as you open the door for her, right? Well, if you have to open the door with your right hand, you do it with your left hand, but you get the point. Don't be autistic. You see what I'm saying here? I'm giving you like pearls of wisdom here. Shit that I've spent decades learning and mastering, okay? Now, you do that consistently. Make her feel your physical presence. When you're talking to her, okay? You're talking to her about whatever, reach over and squeeze her forearm on the key syllables of your conversation. Now, in the previous video, I was talking about how, that when you go to a restaurant, a lot of times the guy sits across the table from the girl. I mean, I never do that, ever. I always have the girl sit here, right next to me. Why is that? Because, see, two reasons. Number one, when you're sitting across from a table, it's confrontational. And that's bad, right? Psychologically, it's like defenses up, shields up, full phasers on whatever. So, I never have a girl sitting across the table from me. I always have her sitting next to me, or at worst adjacent to me, like in a 90-degree angle, right? But best of all, next to me. Why is that? Because when two people are sitting next to one another, they sort of like take in the environment together, right? Because they're seeing the same thing, right? And so there's more possibility of that complicity stuff that I was talking about, right? Second, when she is sitting next to me, it's much easier for me to reach across my body with my right hand and put my hand on her forearm, for example, to emphasize a point I'm telling her. You see what I mean? Yes, AB, this is happening, blah, blah, blah. And, squeeze her arm, not all the time, but on the key syllables of the conversation. Now, why am I talking about this stuff, this seemingly trivial stuff of like where she sits and how I hold her forearm and how I help her through the door when I open the door for her. Why is this important? Because you are getting her used to your physicality. And this is important because, see, when you're gonna pop the question and say, can I kiss you? She will be already subliminally used to your physicality, okay? And this is something you want. See? Because she will feel that you are confident and comfortable in your body, and therefore she will be more amenable to hooking up with you. See? You always have to keep something in mind, something that you can often forget. You see, women want to be with a man. They want to be with you. If they are going out with you, they've already made up their minds that potentially they can see themselves with you, okay? That's something that you always have to remember, and it's so easy to forget that. It's so easy to forget that and fuck up the date, okay? And usually men fuck it up by being over anxious, by wanting it to succeed too much. And so what I'm telling you here in this video about always be double booking and always be closing, it's to sort of like push you forward so that you don't overthink it. Because overthinking is what kills, a romantic life. It's the brainy guys who fuck up with women, not the stupid guys. The stupid guys, because they're stupid and they don't overthink it, they do fine with women. It's the smart guys who fuck it up, right? It's the smart guys, like presumably you, who've listened to me going on for 20 odd minutes in this shit, right? It's guys like you who fuck up because you're too fucking smart, because you're overthinking the fucking problem, because you think it's a problem. It's not a problem to be solved. It is a process, okay? Go along with the process. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, and don't be dumb enough to act natural, to just quote unquote be yourself. I mean, don't. Think of this as a process, as an algorithm, as like a ride on a slide, like one of those water slides that go around and twist all over the place and finally deposit you in the pool. Exactly. It's exactly that. Now you can fight it and try to reinvent the wheel, and you're not going to succeed. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to be frustrated and angry. And eventually you're going to start to take out your anger on other people or yourself. And it's going to affect other aspects of your life. So don't do that. Okay? Focus on the process. Understand the process. Understand what you are trying to achieve. Okay? Once you understand what you are trying to achieve, once you understand that this is achievable, that this isn't rocket science, then you'll do fine.